All right. Thank you so much for joining me today on the My Bourbon Journey Whiskey Review channel. So we're back at it again, and the guys over at Foregate Whiskey Company, another release. So this is gonna be specifically their batch 11. This is coming in, this is their Ruby Rye Springs. This is coming in at 113.4 proof or 56.7% ABV. Mash bill on this, 95.5 MGP sourced rye whiskey. They don't really try to, hide anything. They're very transparent about everything that they do. One thing, again, that I love about Foregate. Age statement on this guy is gonna be on the rye, specifically is gonna be 7 years, and it was aged for 42 days in Ruby Port-Rum Casks. So the difference there is it's not necessarily Ruby Port and rum, it's one barrel that's held both of them. So when you have the dash versus that's where you've got the single cask versus multiple casks on this. So it is a single cask finishing rye whiskey. And MSRP is gonna be right at that $185 price point. So again, batch 11, Foregate Whiskey Company, Ruby Rye Springs. So let's go ahead and get into this review. Color-wise, really nice, kind of rich mahogany, copper type of color. And again, that 7-year mark on a rye whiskey at cask strength, that generally speaking is getting into that really, really nice aged rye whiskey. So, all right, let's get into the nose here. Oh boy. So my first thought, like right away, is this nice milk chocolate aspect to it. Quickly, this orange citrus kind of punches you in the face. A little bit of like a molasses nose on that. Really nice mint note to it. Again, with this, in sitting down with this whiskey prior to doing the review, you've got to give this rye a little bit of time. Let it open up, sit down with it, let it kind of just do its thing. Do not rush this one. That's, again, my experience with a lot of Foregate stuff is as it sits out and begins to really open up is when these whiskeys really kind of start to shine for them. That baking spice is really, really nice on this. You're not getting hit or dominated by the proof on this one so far. And again, at 113.4 proof, you're going to expect something, but I'm not getting a lot of ethanol on the nose. A little bit of like a burnt toast aspect on that. Oh, that nice, rich, bold rye spices there, though. I mean, it's a great, that 95.5 rye mash bill that MGP produces is a fantastic mash bill on a rye whiskey. Oh, yeah, that spice is fantastic. Not getting a huge amount of the finishing aspect yet on this one. And again, this is where giving these whiskeys, these finished whiskeys, a little bit of time to kind of open up and get a little bit of air to them. That will sometimes allow these to kind of really, again, open up and start to shine a little bit. And maybe before, the molasses part of it was a little bit of that rum characteristic kind of coming out. A little bit now, you start to get some of the dark fruit. So maybe that's a bit of the transition of the Ruby Port that's coming out, is that I'm just interpreting it as more of a dark berry, a dark fruit, something along those lines. Yeah, it's almost like a bit of a grape aspect, like a nice rich grape, something like that. But definitely those dark fruits really start to kind of come out. And again, as this begins to open up, I've had this open now in terms of in the glass for maybe about 10 minutes prior to doing the review. So I gave it a little bit of air time to kind of let this thing kind of open up just coming out of the sample bottle. Yeah, really nice. And I would say now that it's kind of, I'm moving around a little bit, more of the rum or the molasses aspect kind of starts to kind of come out in this. More chocolate, definitely. A lot more of that cinnamon. There's a little bit of like a toasted aspect, that burnt toast too on this one. A lot going on so far with this. And again, it wasn't something when I kind of sat down with this prior, I wasn't getting all of this. I had to let this thing open up and just kind of do its own thing a little bit. All right, more importantly, let's see how this guy is going to taste. Cheers. Immediately, there's this great, rich rye spice. That MGP 95.5, it lets you know, hey, I am here, let's play. So really, really nice. That mint aspect on this is really nice. Great oak on this, nice vanillas. That candied orange citrus starts to kind of come out a little bit in this one now. Yeah, again, a little bit of that touch of molasses, which probably is the influence of the rum that's there. Again, that lingering spice is fantastic. That mint, the orange citrus that just remains there. Great spice on this. Nice amount of heat. It coats the mouth really, really well. Nice chocolate. This is probably more of a baker's chocolate, not overly sweet, so you get a little bit of that, like, I don't even want to say bitterness, but there's that tartness that you get from like a baker's chocolate. Lets you know that there's a chocolate presence. It's just not overly sweet. Hopefully that makes a little bit of sense. Some nice sweet tobacco. Again, no, it's more of like, again, a pipe tobacco. Again, a little bit of maybe that even touch of like a leather. You start to get a little bit of a drying aspect to it. I'd say here comes, similar on the nose. On the palate, for me, the dark fruit and that ruby port, or dark fruit is what I'm going to associate it with, comes out kind of late. It's as it sits on the palate and begins to kind of really develop. So, you know, with this, if you're expecting to get just punched with all of those flavors like right away, for me, it doesn't happen. This is something that's going to kind of develop a little bit on your palate. And I think as you sip on it even more and it opens up, you coat the palate a little bit more, a lot of these nice flavors, you're gonna see where the true blending aspect kind of comes in. So this is where 4Gate kind of shines, is that they do a lot of some fantastic blends, and this being kind of just another one of those different things. So I know not all of them are gonna be for everybody, but one of the things that I always appreciate about what 4Gate does is they're always doing something different. And that's one of the things that I really, really enjoy is the what's next aspect from 4Gate. And what they've done is they've taken already a great base rye whiskey, 7-year rye whiskey. Now they've aged it in Ruby Port-Rum Cask for 42 days. And this is what you end up with. And it's a really nice rye. Again, it's one of those things where you do not want to rush this. It will start to evolve and develop the more you sip on it. So just take your time with this one. One of the things I think this would be great with is a nice, you know, medium to even full-bodied cigar. I think this is a great finished rye whiskey that would hold up to a nice, you know, full-bodied cigar or something along those lines. So this would be something that I would probably steer people to that are looking to do a nice whiskey and cigar pairing. I think both of these would really do, they'd play off of each other very well, from the tobaccos and the sweetness that this has on it, that rye spice. I think they would do a really nice job where they could kind of offset and pull out the different flavors on this one. So yeah, I would say for a cigar pairing, this would be a really, really nice rye whiskey. So as we kind of get into the finish part of it, and I've kind of talked about it a little bit already, is that, you know, you get those those heavy kind of dark fruits a little bit late. And again, that's probably the port influence on this one, but still the great spice, the nice oak, a lot of those like rich, just the mint that's there, a little bit of that baker's chocolate. It's one that you just want to take your time with. That's what I'll say, is that you will be rewarded. The longer you sip on this, the more things kind of start to kind of develop and kind of finish on your palate there. Yeah, that sweet tobacco is really there. Nice citrus, mint, baker's chocolate, fantastic spice on it, perfect amount of heat on this, nice leather aspect to it. Yeah, I mean, this would be one of those whiskeys that I'm looking forward to pairing with a really nice cigar. So I think they've done a good job with this one. Again, my recommendation would be pour this thing, open it up, take your time with it. You will be rewarded as you kind of start to sip on this thing. It's going to change on you for sure. So with that being said, if you've tried this, leave a comment below. I'm always interested to hear people's feedback on the particular whiskeys that I'm doing a review on. And I'm always interested to hear back from people regarding the 4-gate stuff. So, please leave a comment. Let me know your thoughts, on this batch 11 specifically. So with that being said, again, thank you so much for tuning into another one of my reviews. I greatly appreciate all of your support. If you'd like to follow me, you can on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, all of those places at My Bourbon Journey. If you'd like to help support the channel, you can through my Patreon page, which I'll have linked in the description below. So thank you so much for all of your support. And then again, 4-Gate Whiskey Company, Batch 11, they're Ruby Rye Springs, fantastic rye whiskey. So with that being said, thank you again so much for tuning into another one of my reviews. And as always, remember, it's about the journey and not the destination. Cheers.